his apology.
Hey guys, it's Noah. I just wanted to come on here super briefly just to discuss everything that's been going on online. I feel like my thoughts and beliefs have been so far misconstrued from anything even close to what I believe. And
What did they misconstrue? You say Zionism is sexy, as like 10,000 children had been mercilessly slaughtered by Israel. Like, you should be ashamed of yourself. In a normal world, normal human beings would be. Okay? In a normal world, human beings with a heart would be embarrassed. That's it. Would be embarrassed to openly state that they are in support of the genocidal fascist apartheid regime of Israel. Now, the funniest part about this is that this is why there's a concept such as progressive accept Palestine, right? A lot of people can get away with like presenting themselves as bastions of morality and arbiters of good and progressive people in general until it comes to Israel. And then they become genocidal, bloodthirsty monsters in their defense of Israel's genocidal apartheid regime and all of the violence it takes to maintain said genocidal apartheid project. Okay? That's the case. That's the case here. It's the case with many defenders of Israel. Okay? Smart Panda says, I was a staunch Zionist at 19. It takes time, a ton of education, emotional intelligence to break through the years and years of propaganda that is being Jewish in America. I understand that. You want to know why I understand that better than anyone else? Because I'm Turkish and I went to Turkish school. And what does that mean? That means I learned that the Armenian genocide was a lie my entire childhood. Now, of course, I never really thought that this was a real thing, okay? Like, I never really thought that that education was correct because I was a lot more skeptical of what I was being taught from the jump. I guess I had a bit of a anarchist streak in me early on, but the very same methods applied in that education is the exact same thing that I see in Israel's Hasbara propaganda. The difference, of course, is that the Armenian genocide happened, and it happened years ago, and it's not happening right now. Well, with the help of Israel and Azerbaijan, a newer version of that did happen. But what I mean is, like, the OG Armenian genocide, it happened. Okay? The idea that it is being continued in the exact same way on camera in front of everyone to thunderous applause is ridiculous. Okay? But Israel continues to do it. I thought I saw you wince when you played the video of the shower. Yeah. So, Hasan grew up and learned he needed a shower. Yes. There is no moment in time, in my opinion, where it is appropriate to be like, no, actually, Israel's apartheid state is totally morally permissible, totally righteous, and it's awesome. Why do people say that you deny the Armenian genocide? Genuinely don't know. Because they're stupid. Like, what do you mean? They just want to shit stir and smear and lie to their fan base because I'm Turkish. It's not a meme because they're liars. There's no easier way to explain it. I'm Turkish. They're fucking racist. Their audience is most likely racist, or at least completely oblivious to what my position is. So it makes them feel better. It gives them more moral permission to shit on me. They do this now, which is also laughable, with Kurds as well. This is another thing that I've found out. Guys, this is now officially the Hasan denies the Armenian genocide version, but for Kurds. Now they're also saying Hasan does not support Kurdish people, okay? Which is so fucking laughable. The notion that I am anti-Kurdish is fucking hilarious. I criticize the Turkish government routinely, okay? Routinely, which is so funny that people are saying that I'm anti-Kurdish. Kurdish people don't believe that, which is why it's really funny. Okay. And I'm also notoriously good friends with someone who literally went to Rojava and fought, okay, alongside the Kurdish militias there. I had him on the fucking broadcast like 2 weeks ago. So the idea that I am anti-Kurdish or have denied the Armenian genocide is fucking laughable, but it doesn't matter. Okay? It doesn't fucking matter. It literally doesn't matter to the fan base. They just think that that is a thing that people believe. Okay? Anyway. The lib said you thought the Kurds were hog people. That's so funny. Yeah. Listen, brother. Yeah, if you grew up in fucking Beverly Hills and you don't necessarily know anything about Middle Eastern politics and you see like a Turkish guy, you go, what do I know about this guy? Well, he must hate Kurds. It's genuinely no different than the psychopathic weird Nazis that consistently, including Andrew Tate, consistently saying that I deny the Armenian genocide when I never have. So, very, very stupid stuff. Very stupid stuff. Is it me or just a lot of the same people who were all for ending the South African apartheid also pro-Israel? How can people so easily recognize the apartheid then but not now? I think that a lot of the people that didn't, well, first of all, Joe Biden is one of the only people that wanted to end the South African apartheid, but does not want to end the Israeli one, and that is because of his own personal perspective on Israel's existence. He's been like a rugged, diehard Zionist ideologically from the jump. Americans don't even know who the Kurds are. They just heard the talking points against you. Yeah. It is really cute, though, when people who don't know anything about my position or about the history in the region try to come at me with like pot shots and unconditionally claim the exact opposite position that I defend. Okay? That's it. There's also some new bullshit rumors saying you are pro Erdogan because you think he was cooed by Fethullah Gulen. Yeah, exactly. Well, why can't I go back to Turkey? Who knows? Don't ask that question. I must be pro Erdogan. I'm sorry. Having this conversation with Amerifats literally feels like I'm talking to a baby. Okay? I sometimes feel like I'm talking to a fucking baby. It is not even bad faith. It's like talking to a child. They do not know anything. They're just simply talking from a position of authority. That's it. Anyway. I can't believe we just like took a major side step. Reminds me of watching TYT back in the day and thinking they were making good points, but then all the comments were like, these guys deny the Armenian genocide, etc. Cenk did, in his youth, deny the Armenian genocide. Ironically, he was a conservative American hog back then, but also simultaneously very Muslim too, which is really interesting. I think he had an identity crisis in his youth. It's true. Yeah, he did. And then he learned that that was wrong. I mean, this is way, way, way back in the 90s. Yes, he has acknowledged, of course. If any chatters want to know why creators are trying to start drama with you, it's most likely this. Video views are down for the last couple of days, so they want to bring up the estimated monthly earnings. Is that what you're saying? True. So let's get back to Noah Schnapp and not my silly little haters who say some of the funniest things. Like there's two different, I guess the last thing I will say is there's two different kinds of hatred that I see. One is like clip chimping to assume the exact opposite position that I have, and that happens pretty commonly. And the other is clip chimping to rob my commentary of its context to claim that I have like an unnuanced position. These are the most common ways in which people try to engage with my commentary. Knowing full well that I will refuse to give clout to those who are desperately seeking it, they take advantage of the fact that I'm not going to go and debate them so they can just simply lie. That's it. That's it. Yeah, it's just like it's like the classic take is the baby settlers concept. Okay? The baby settlers concept. Like I'm literally my position has been clear from the jump that like it is of course immoral to kill babies. Okay? Settler or not, you cannot do that. All right? My position has been clear from day one that you can't kill civilians either. Okay? But if you clip it out of context, you can make it seem like I'm pro baby murder. What people don't understand is I am pro baby murder when it comes to abortion. That's right. I love baby murder. Okay? They will be on your dick until they die. They smell the syrup. I don't know what that means. The real baby murder I'm on board with is freaking abortions, baby. That's right. I've literally paid for abortions that happen to the tune of $60,000. Isn't your position that a one state is necessary because otherwise you'd have to expel all the baby settlers? Like you're more sympathetic to the settlers than the average flag emoji two-staters? Yes. That's it. So let's get back to Stranger Things star Noah Schnapp tells Instagram followers to choose humanity over violence amid Israel-Hamas war, says the Hollywood Reporter. This was on October 11th. And now we are in January 16th, and here's what his response is.
Hey guys, it's Noah. I just wanted to come on here super briefly just to discuss everything that's been going on online. I feel like my thoughts and beliefs have been so far misconstrued from anything even close to what I believe. And I wanted to just state from my heart how I feel. I only want peace and safety and security for all innocent people affected by this conflict. I've had many open discussions with friends from Palestinian background, and I think those are very important conversations to have, and I've learned a lot. And one of the takeaways I've had is that we all hope for the same things. That
Dude, oh my God, this is bad. This is a very bad apology. It's not. He is. How is this guy a good actor? Like, how is he one of the main? He is so bad at acting, bro. First of all, I highly doubt that any fucking Palestinian or someone of a Palestinian background, other than those like weird hyper Zionist Palestinian accounts on Twitter, is talking to this dude. Okay. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, what is it? Like Zia or whatever? Like the guy who's like, I'm a Palestinian poet. And I think it's so sick that Israel killed my entire family. I think they deserve to die. Hamas is way more dangerous for the Palestinians than the genocidal nuclear state that has maintained an apartheid regime and an occupation, a military occupation over myself and my family for 75 years. Okay. Like, yeah, he's like, I talked to a bunch of Palestinians, including the son of Hamas. The guy who's like, I am son of Hamas, and I am here to tell you, Hamas is most dangerous for America. I don't even know what his accent actually is like, the son of Hamas guy, because I've just never listened to him. Anytime someone sends me a video of his to be like, what do you think about this? I'm like, I'm not watching that shit. You can put a gun to my fucking head, and I'm not watching that. Okay?
Being those innocent people still being held hostage in Gaza to be returned to their families, and equally hope for an end to the loss of innocent life in Palestine. So many of those people being women and children, and it's horrible to see.
Damn, is it, dude? I thought that was sexy though. What was it? Was it what was it? Was it the is there like a turning point for him? Was it like 12,000 children massacred by Israel where he was like, "Okay, now that we reached 12,001 children being murdered by Israel, now it's time, maybe Zionism not so sexy." Is that what happened?
And I think anyone with any ounce of humanity would hope for an end to the hostility on both sides.
Yeah, he's having a genocidal post-nut clarity. He's like, dude, I nutted too hard, and I realized maybe it's not appropriate.
I stand against any killing of any innocent people, and I hope you guys all do too. And I just hope to one day see those two groups be able to live harmoniously together in that region, and I hope...
Damn, bro, he said one state now. He said one state solution now. This is really like someone trying to protect themselves. He's way too calm, weird. It's so creepy. What the fuck, man? He's afraid crying. Yeah, dude. No, it's just like, yeah, he's trying to do like a little bit of cleanup PR. Okay. Oh, yeah. Listen, bro, and I've been saying this is October 10, pretty much. If you're pro hostages being released back into Israel, then you should be literally yelling at the Israeli government, not Hamas, the Israeli government. Okay? Because currently, as it stands, even if Hamas tomorrow was like, we have decided we are not fighting, we are so sorry, bro, and like we're releasing all the hostages, they couldn't do it logistically because the bombing campaign has never stopped. Okay? The people, the group most responsible for the death and destruction that befalls the hostages is the Israeli occupying force. Okay? Your Arab accent sounds hella Iranian. I know. I've been doing too much like Shah writer commentary, making fun of like the Iranian supporters of the Shah, that like I got stuck on that a little bit. Yeah, it did stop though for like 10 whole minutes, and then they released the hostages. Exactly. He actually never apologized. He actually apologized, and he never says innocent people he's talking about. Dude is trying to save the rating for the new season.
For 2024 online, to see people be a little more understanding and compassionate and recognize that we're all human, regardless of our race, of our ethnicity, of our background. Of
Shaw supporters are calling you racist. Yeah, dude. I am famously. Yeah.
Our country of birth, of our even our sexuality, of anything. We are all human and we're all the same. And we should all love each other for that and support each other and stand together. And stand together for humanity and for peace.
What the fuck? Oh, no.
For 2024 online, to see people be a little more understanding and compassionate and recognize that we're all human, regardless of our race, of our ethnicity, of our background, of our country of birth, of our even our sex.
By the way, I noticed that the Shah Iranians are zealot Zionist supporters in the UK in an extreme way. Shocked to find out that the people that were in defense of a propped up Shah by the West are still in defense of awful, violent, pro-Western positions. It's just it's crazy. I mean, that's what it is. It's just a continuation of the same shit. You know? Liberals when it comes to Palestinians / Muslims lately.
Can you expect from filthy little...
Globe Twitter. I can't believe poor people are so racist. Also, Globe Twitter when Palestinians are mentioned. Have you seen the insane story about Israel preparing for pregnancies from Hamas hostage rape circulating online with zero evidence? Yes, I have, as a matter of fact. Insane. The fact that this was an article that was written is so insane. Israel readies for possibility of pregnancies of female hostages raped by Hamas. Literally zero evidence for this. Like, it's just, what is happening? What's going on? Okay, what the hell is going on here? Are y'all all right? Wait, they made the other Stranger Things start? No. Wait, is this for real? Zionism only means that you believe Israel has a right to exist. It does not mean that you are for the death of innocent Palestinians. It actually has nothing to do with the war. Wait. Yo, they did. They packed them, dude. Listen, this is fucking pack watch. I'm not even kidding. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. This is new. Okay? This is new. Is this actually him or is this a fake account? Be honest with me. It seems like this is actually him. Yeah, see, John is the Palestinian I'm talking about. Mr. Palestinian poet, British Palestinian musician, peace activist. Oh, he unfollowed me. I guess I spoke too much. Spoke too much in favor of Palestinian people for his taste. Would you? This is Brett Gelman, who's the other. This is the other guy. This is the other fucking Stranger Things guy who's been like losing his mind about Israel. He literally flew to Israel. If we even consider to be, why would they need to prepare for a handful of pregnancies? First of all, no, we are not even considering that to be true. Okay? That's insane. There's no evidence for this whatsoever. As a matter of fact, the only evidence for this that they have is the exact opposite. That one Israeli lady who was operated on, if you remember, in the early days of Israel's bombing campaign, that went on television and literally said, oh, they didn't rape me, but I'm willing to bet they wanted to. I could see the rape in their eyes. Like, that is not news. Like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, that's insane. I'm sorry. That is an insane thing to say. Like, listen, I obviously have a lot of empathy for someone who has been kidnapped. Okay? Like, that's, understandable that you are going to be emotional, understandable that you are going to be traumatized. You got kidnapped at gunpoint, okay? Your family members and relatives were murdered, right? Like, and then you finally were released in a hostage negotiation, a hostage swap. That is going to be definitely a circumstance that is traumatizing, okay? But the idea that, like, you're going to go on television and be like, guess what? My captives didn't rape me, and somehow that's like a bad thing, and also they wanted to really bad, is an insane thing to say. It's an insane thing to say. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And that actually hit the news for a while too. That was in the news cycle. I didn't even cover it at the time because I thought it was like so insane. Yeah, there's no proof at all, by the way, for the this is the only thing that came out. Tracy Ann Oberman, who had to unironically pay substantial damages for anti-Semitism claims back in the day, is like a psychotic, ultra-Zionist British actress who literally posted this and said, as a Jewish woman hearing so many Jewish female hostages return home pregnant after multiple Hamas rapes, that many of the female hostages, some so young, are pregnant from Hamas rapes still in captivity, is devastating. And the silence from the feminists around the world, no words. And then there's this conversation where it's like, there are no reports of pregnant return hostages. There's a reason to worry that some of the young women who are still hostage in Gaza may be pregnant, but no data. Please don't spread incorrect info and share your source if you do indeed have new info. Heidi, I genuinely wish I was lying, but I'm not. But if it makes you sleep easier at night, my sister, please believe it's lies. I am completely on your side here and not denying any of the atrocities, but these are new claims. So please share sources. In this climate of extreme pro-Palestine lies, we must be very careful. Heidi, I genuinely wish it was a lie, and that's all I'm going to say. Okay, don't spread info if you don't have sources, please. It undermines our credibility. Okay, Heidi. Like, these are two people who are on different spectrums of Zionism, having a conversation with one another in broad daylight, and one person is like, there has been mass rapes of all the hostages, and they're pregnant now. All the Jewish women that were taken captive have been raped by Hamas militants, and they're now all pregnant. Okay, and then the other person is like, "What are you talking about?" Like, you know, some of these people have their family members still in captivity. You know what I mean? They're like, where's what's going on? Like, what's the deal? Like, where are you getting this information from? I would like to know. It's the same principle behind, like, Israel saying that the UN special investigator that is supposed to investigate medical claims to map out exactly what kind of sexual violence occurred on October 7 is getting pushback from the Israeli government. What the fuck are you doing? Like, are you insane? Of course you're supposed to investigate this. There's no world where you go, like, there's no world where you don't want justice. It blows my mind that you would ever, for any reason, go, I don't want this to be investigated. Like, what do you mean? I'm not saying that I am suspicious of these claims at all, okay? Sexual violence does occur in times of military operations and times of war all the fucking time, okay? It is a very valid thing to investigate. But I do not trust the Israeli government even for a brief moment. I will say that, okay? I will say that. However, having said that, if there's actual evidence to the matter, then it should be fucking investigated. Like, what are we talking about? How can you stand in the way of that? Claiming like, the UN special investigators are actually anti-Semitic. Heidi, I genuinely wish it was a lie. Okay, don't spread info if you have no sources. Okay, Heidi, like I said, I cannot disclose the source, and I wish it was a lie. It will come out. And as a sister, I hope you feel remorse with this conversation. Sleep well. You did not say that you could not disclose the source. That should be upfront then. This is not great communication. Do better, please. Okay, Heidi, blocking you now. You are not a sister or an ally. Like, this is an insane conversation to have. Anyway, the other part of this this story was like, where is it? Here, I'll show you the other thing as well. Was it Khan that wrote about this? I think Muhammad posted this as well. Let me see if I can find it real quick. There was a let me see if I can find it. There was a post from Khan, which is another Israeli broadcaster, covering the latest on the UN special investigation into the was it this one? Well, this is just from Quds News Network, but I want to know if there's like, because this doesn't have the actual article in it. I want to show the actual article. The actual article is more interesting to me than just like Quds News Network saying that this is what's going on. But yes, Khan, the one of the Israeli publishers, one of the Israeli broadcasters, wrote an article where they said that the Israeli representatives of the Human Rights Council have met with Israeli doctors to obtain information to investigate whether there were any war crimes committed on October 7th. The Israeli Minister of Health refused to cooperate nor share information and referred to the UN councils as anti-Semitic, anti-Israel biased bodies. Here is the article. Thank you for finding it. Here it is. An anti-Israeli committee of the UN will question Israeli doctors on October 7th. Representatives of the Human Rights Council, which was established after the Wall Guard operation, approached Israeli doctors who treated the wounded and kidnapped, met with them in order to obtain information. The Ministry of Health, 3 anti-Semitic, anti-Israeli persons with a biased body that Israel will not cooperate with, were appointed to head the council. In recent weeks, representatives of the United Nations have contacted doctors and hospitals in Israel to investigate the events of October 7, as reported Monday in the evenings in Cannes. The Ministry of Health instructed the hospitals and medical institutions to not cooperate because it is an anti-Israel committee. I mean, you can't do that. Like, what do you mean? The notion that, like, you can't, like, these are people that are going to correctly investigate. If you want to, if you want to prosecute criminals, war criminals, okay, you have to conduct an investigation. It is ridiculous to say, no, we are not allowing the Human Rights Council and the special investigators to conduct an investigation. That's crazy. Like, what do you mean? The Legal Bureau of Ministry of Health, like, this is not how this works, guys. You can't do that. Israel is also trying to stop internal investigations from happening as well. I mean, and there's some really good journalism that has come out of Israel in this time frame as well. Let's be real, because like there are obviously people who want to know what the truth is for the sake of the Israeli victims. Okay, I'm not even talking about this from the perspective of like I'm skeptical or whatever. I'm saying like this is how it is done. Okay, like that's insane. This happens in America as well. There's no world in which you just don't go, we have to, go back, investigate the situation, and make assessments. Who did what? It blows my mind that the UN envoy on sexual violence and conflict is to visit Israel, and the Israeli government is saying that they're like anti-Israeli, anti-Semitic people. Okay? I mean, here, there are people inside of Israel that are also pushing for this, for the record. The IDF should have opened a probe into the events of October 7 a long time ago. It's crazy. Almost as crazy as forgetting the top of the hour ad break, which I'm running now, okay? It's been 16 minutes into the top of the hour, and I'm running it now. Here's a 3-minute ad break now. Israeli ministers come out against the internal probe of Army's conduct on October 7th. Israeli ministers lash out at the Army Chief of Staff over team heading the inquiry into failure surrounding Hamas's assault. We are at war, and this is the time you're starting to investigate, one said. Are you for fucking real? If you're an Israeli citizen, if you are an Israeli civilian, and your family members died on October 7, it is 1,000% within your rights to demand an investigation to see how they died. Okay? Did they die by shelling from a tank? Or did they die by a grenade being lobbed into their houses by Hamas militants? Did they die under fire? That is ridiculous. This is about restitution. This is about closing a chapter in your life. This is about learning the truth. It blows my mind that you would belittle the victims and their family members by saying this is going to potentially hurt our military, and it's going to hurt our endless support for the war, or whatever the fuck. This is what happens when the right has successfully delegitimized the international community and the rule of law over the past 50 years. To me, it's all the U.S.'s fault. I mean, it's not just the right. America has done this collectively. It's not just the right that has done this. This is a very America thing. Anyway, did they die because the IDF would rather shoot its own citizens than have them taken hostage? I mean, that's definitely a part of it. Okay. That is definitely a part of it because of the Hannibal Protocol, which is not my assessment of the situation. This is officially now confirmed by Yediot, another Israeli broadcaster, an Israeli outlet that talked about how on October 7, the Israeli Defense Force utilized what is known as the Hannibal Protocol that is a official Israeli occupying force policy that dictates that it is better, Hannibal Directive, it is better to kill everyone, including all the militants, and also the kidnapped hostages that are Israeli citizens or military members, than it is to let Hamas or any kind of Palestinian militancy take those hostages back into Gaza and engage in some kind of hostage release process. This is like a very real policy that the Israeli government has had officially in the books. They have also reconfirmed it throughout history, but then talked about how, they no longer apply it all the time. However, it turns out that according to Yediot, here, I mean, this it's already on Wikipedia as well. According to Kibbutz Be'eri survivors Hadash Dagan and Yasmin Parat, an Israeli tank fired 2 shells at a house that was known to hold over a dozen hostages, including 12-year-old twins. Only 1 hostage survived. On January 2024, a Haaretz editorial asked the IDF to disclose whether the Hannibal Directive was used during the Be'eri massacre. A few days later, an investigation by Israeli newspaper Yediot Ahronoth, and Yediot is not like a fucking left-wing paper by any means, okay, concluded that the IDF had in practice applied the Hannibal Directive from noon of October 7, ordering all combat units to stop at all costs any attempt by Hamas terrorists to return to Gaza with hostages. Remember, it is not about rescuing the hostages at that point. It's about literally stopping them by killing the hostages. And it's not even just a Hannibal Directive from noon of October 7th. It's the Hannibal Directive applied currently, still. It's still there. It's still being applied right now. That is why the IDF bombing campaigns have killed more hostages than the ceasefires have rescued at this point. And that much was very clear from the jump, from October 8th. If you listened to the cabinet meetings of the war cabinet, you knew very quickly, and if you looked at the actions of the Israeli occupying force, you knew very quickly that the goal was to just ground and pound and not necessarily try to secure the hostages at all. And now Nova survivors are seeking $200 million in damages from the IDF, Shin Bet, and police. Some 42 survivors of the Re'im Music Festival have filed a complaint. This is all stuff that is going to understandably happen. Okay? This is precisely the reason why there has to be investigations conducted into October 7th. Okay? Do you understand? One phone call separated the plaintiffs' lives and the integrity of their bodies and souls from the destruction of their lives, the 42 victims involved in the lawsuit wrote. The lawsuit highlights gross negligence regarding the management of the events at the Nature Party, Israeli media reported. This is the largest lawsuit of its kind against Israeli security forces. Do you understand? Because if your goal is to defend Jewish people in Israel, if that's your claim, then the reality is you can't have a apartheid state that also kills Israeli people all the time without proper investigations into it. This is part of the reason why you have to conduct these investigations for the sake of the Israeli victims of October 7th, so they get a better and more accurate assessment of the events that took place, so they can demand some kind of compensation for the damages. The lawsuits listed, but not limited to the licensing and approval of the party and its location, the failure to issue an order close to the party, and other claims regarding the warnings of a serious security incident in the area received hours before the massacre. Israeli media reported that the lawsuit also said the senior officers in Gaza division of the IDF expressed concerns about a large gathering so close to the Gaza border. Like, many people were mad at those who said, "What the fuck are you doing?" What the fuck are you doing throwing a banger, a rave, next to the border fence of a concentration camp? And everybody yelled at them at the time because tensions were high. But this lawsuit is directly saying that, for the record. Like, this lawsuit specifically is saying that. But it's saying that from the perspective of the Israeli victims, so there is more permission on that front to say things like this. But it is a correct question to ask. I remember when he called psytrance weird techno, Lamau, whatever. Despite his warnings of additional officers needed permission to hold a party, according to prosecutors, no one in the IDF or the police informed the approximately 3,500 participants of the Nova Party about security concerns. The lawsuit also claimed that since security forces were reportedly aware of the development of an unusual security situation on the night of October 6th and early morning hours on October 7th, the participants were still not sent home from the event. It is incomprehensible, the court wrote, how the defendants did not order the party to be dispersed immediately. Despite the threat of a terrorist infiltration, the party was still not dispersed, nor the security response equipment matched the extremity of the situation. In their counsel, the plaintiffs emphasized that the lawsuit does not come to replace the state investigation committee that will be established, and that the lawsuit refers specifically to the omissions and negligence that preceded the party, including the approval and licensing of the party, the failure to issue an order to disperse the Nova Party participants to their homes, despite the warnings received. Okay? But they claim the Hamas planned were dismissed as ambitious, remember? Exactly. Anyway, so just something to consider when talking about these issues, okay? Are they saying they were just negligent or knew and intentionally let it happen? I've said this before. I don't think it was like intentional and it was allowed to happen. I think that they were incredibly confident. Okay? I think that they were incredibly confident and thought these Arab dogs would never be able to do such a thing, such a grand military operation, because that's what happens when you consistently dehumanize your opposition. When you consistently dehumanize them and you say it over and over again, you start fucking believing it. So in your mind, you think there is no possible way. It is the arrogance of the occupation. Exactly. As I've said before. It is the arrogance of thinking that you can maintain an apartheid for 75 years without any sort of backlash, without any sort of punishment, without any sort of cost to that apartheid. These are human beings. Okay? You cannot trap human beings in an open air prison and then assume that they will not try to do everything in their power to fight back. Of course they will. Of course they will. Anyway. Democrats are so in denial about the fact that their guys supporting genocide that they're now doing QAnon-style conspiracy theories. Let's take a look at that. Thread. I have a theory. It may seem silly, though, but please bear with me. I believe that Russia, China, and the Republican Party are bankrolling and paying off these protesters. What they want is for the electorate to stick these chaos agents to the Democrats. By doing so, the GOP, Xi, Putin, and China are expecting low voter turnout. The goal is to energize Trump supporters and reassure the moderates and independents that our party is responsible for these far-left chaos agents. Republicans, Putin, and Xi want Trump back in power. Completely agree, and I think Iran is in on it too. There's a large network of groups, individuals, and entities that want the Democrats out of power, and sadly, that includes our own mainstream media. Why do you think the media has been propping up the GOP candidates more and more this time around than in 2016? Mainstream media does want the Democrats out of power. That part is true. Okay? That part is definitely true. However, not for the reasons that you think. Okay? I do feel like just as things were going well for the Dems, the party started imploding on itself. Yeah. The reason why you think this is because you only watch CNN and MSNBC. You have no understanding of the atrocities that are occurring in Israel, in Israeli-occupied territory in Gaza, and that you simply cannot fathom that like a younger generation of Democratic Party voters and a younger generation in general that sees what is going on and is shocked at the inhumane, at the barbaric nature of the Israeli apartheid regime, and you just can't cope with that reality. So you're like, oh, it must be the Russians that are telling us that apartheid and genocide are bad, and not like the actual personal moral positions that people have come to. This is absolutely logical to think. I was actually contemplating tweeting, is Russia winning? They all want Trump. Netanyahu wants Trump too. To them, Trump wasn't supposed to lose. I'm not into conspiracies, but I 100% support this theory. I know some may think it's crazy, but given all the crap that we've had to put up with, you wonder if there is some kind of central connection to all of this. You aren't crazy. They are anarchists mostly. Thrilled to see more and more people seeing this. The far left is an op intended to install fascism. There have been active efforts to radicalize them, at least from the early 2000s. They alienate reasonable moderates, pushing right, and motivate right-leaners with one. Yes, the Toronto Sun uncovered evidence of this. Yeah, what's more likely, guys? In your